everyone, welcome back to Brian Reads Comics, a continuation of my old show, What the H Are You Reading, which in itself was a renamed version of my original show, The Pull List. I'm nothing if not inconsistent. I'm your host, Brian Hines, and this is just another monthly comic book review show, but I'm not going to be so bogged down by details, not one comic from each week, of each month, of each year. Now, we're just going to talk about a few comics that I'm reading. It doesn't have to be 4 or 5. In fact, I've only got 3 comics for this first show, but they're all comics that I've read in the month of August 2022. Before we get started, though, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hey, check out my Patreon page. Now, for the very first comic, we're talking about Batman 126. We're 2 issues into the current run by Chip Zdarsky, who's coming off his hit run on Daredevil, with art by George Jimenez, who drew the book more recently under James Tynion IV. Now, in current continuity, Batman is living and operating out of a townhouse in Gotham, and Alfred the Butler is dead, and things aren't going well for him because he's been framed for the Penguin's death. The Penguin actually pulled the plug on himself while Batman was in the room so people would rush in, see his dead body with Batman standing over him, and assume the worst. And now the Gotham underworld is in chaos as criminals and his illegitimate children are all trying to take over his empire. And in the middle of this, a strange Batman-like robot called Failsafe has come to life and attacked Batman. It's trying to kill Bruce. And because of this threat, and this robot is so unstoppable, Oracle puts out the call to the entire Bat family, and they all show up to help. Nightwing, the Third Robin Tim Drake, the Signal, Spoiler, and the Orphan, they all try to take down this Bat Terminator. Now, in the previous issue, Tim actually got shot in the throat. He survived, but this has started Bruce thinking about all the lives around him, all the people he brought into his war on crime, his friends, his family, and how he wants them to have a better life than the one he has. And it's a continuing thread in this issue as it's going through his mind while he battles the robot. Jimenez's art is good. It's really good. He does great posing with the characters. They're exciting action shots. You're not going to get bored reading this title. Now, this is one of DC's $5 books. There's also a backup story in it, also written by Zdarsky, where Catwoman is tracking down the children of the Penguin. But they appear to have all been murdered, except for the last 2, twins Addison and Aiden. Unfortunately, Addison looks exactly like her dad, small and big nose, but Aiden is this tall Adonis. So by the end of this issue, his will is read, his legacy is bequeathed, and Selina realizes that it's likely the twins are behind the murders of their brothers and sisters, all to get their hands on Daddy's money. Now, the art in the backup is by Belen Ortega, who really doesn't hold up to Jimenez's art. It's a little more cartoony, a bit like an off-brand Joe Madureira. It's not bad, but it's not the reason I'm buying this book. This book has a lot of action in it, great art, and if you like Batman and you like the Batman family, hey, this is the book to read. Now, the next book is Predator #1. This is the first Predator book by Marvel since they acquired the property when Disney bought Fox and the Predator comic book license ran out at Dark Horse. It's also time to hit when the Prey movie is being released on Hulu. Now, first off, the art is great. It's by one of my absolute favorites, Kev Walker. He got to start doing Magic the Gathering card art, but he also drew a good run on Thunderbolts. He did some amazing Spider-Man recently, and he just did some art for the Timeless one-shot, which is reintroducing Miracle Man into the Marvel Universe. It's written by Ed Brisson, who's written a lot of Batman, Ghost Rider, and X-Men books. Now, the book is set in the far future of 2050. Yet it's that kind of alien timeline of humanity colonizing planets. A woman in predator armor is hunting and killing actual predators. But 15 years ago, that woman named Theta and her parents were in a colony world that was wiped out by a predator, one missing its 4th mandible fang. So she's been tracking predators with the help of her ship's AI and trying to find the predator that killed her family, all the while dodging other hostile alien races and the mega corporation that not only wants their ship back, but to throw her in jail because she's been pirating fuel and supplies to keep her hunt going this long. Now, it's a solid, if not unremarkable, first issue. Standard Predator on human violence. The Predator won't kill children, that's why Theta is left alive. A lot of adrenaline action moments, but they don't always translate well into comic books. Now, Walker's art has always been good with aliens over on Star Wars Doc Aphra, so he's perfectly fine drawing the native aliens and the various predators. It's an okay book, to be honest, and I am going to read through the first arc, but honestly, I'm just here because I really love Kevin Walker's art. It might not be for you, so you might want to skip this book. And the last book for this review is Do a Powerbomb #3. Now, I love pro wrestling. I was a ring announcer for an Illinois Indie Federation for 9 years. I love comic books. Been reading them since my dad took me to a comic book shop 35 years ago. I do not like wrestling comic books. In the 90s, the Chaos era WWF books tried to turn wrestlers into superhuman heroes. It didn't really work. And to be honest, the Boom era WWE comics never grabbed my interest. But Daniel Warren Johnson, who was behind one of the oversized DC Black Label books, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, has a supernatural twist to a pro wrestling book that's steeped in personal loss. I love this book. It's definitely one of my favorite reads right now. The art is gorgeous. It's incredible. In the first issue, there's a wrestling show, and we see the heel wrestler moonsault into the crowd, onto the face wrestler, and it's done from the floor level perspective looking up, and it looks amazing. The main character is a young female wrestler named Lona, who lost her mother, a more famous pro wrestler, in a tragic in-ring accident. Years later, after a lot of interpersonal family drama, she meets a devil who loves pro wrestling, so much so that he offers her and the man who accidentally killed her mother a chance to team up and enter a tag team tournament he's throwing in his dimension. If they win, he'll bring her mother back to life. Now, by the third issue, the tournament is starting, and the unlikely duo have to wrestle their first match against a pair of talking orangutans. You see, this monster has gathered tag teams from all over time and space, from different dimensions. And I know he's promised to bring back someone the orangutans love if they win the tournament, but I don't know if that's the deal for all the teams going forward. I suppose we'll find out. At the heart of this book is a lot of interpersonal drama. The man who actually killed Lona's mother has a lot of dark secrets of his own that he's been holding on to. And how will they blow up her world when they finally come out? Because you know they have to come out in the course of this book. High stakes, great action scenes. This book is so much fun. We've got 4 issues left to come, so you've got plenty of time to get caught up before the finale. All right, my friends, we've got 3 good books. 2 worth continuing to read so long as the quality stays consistent, and 1, do a power bomb that I think everyone who loves good storytelling should go out and read, especially if you're a pro wrestling fan. But if you don't like pro wrestling, don't let that hold you back. Maybe this will be your gateway book into the larger world of pro wrestling. Even if you don't like it, I still think it's a worthy read for you. Okay, guys, that wraps it up for August 2022. Thank you. I'll see you back here for September 2022. Like I said, like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my Patreon page. Until then, this is Brian Reads Comics, and I'm your host, Brian Hines.